All right, I've been playing with spreadsheets a little bit the last week or so, as you probably know if you've seen some of my videos. Well, really the last few days. And I'm looking to see what if you just left, instead of trading options or doing whatever, if you just left the account in the common of T Triple Q. It's got a great track record if you look back in the past. The track record's running about 12%. 23%. Where the market's been running about 12%. So at 23%, what if you wanted to do the FIRE movement? Okay, so it's occurred to me that not everybody's an old fart like I am. I'm 57, so I'm kind of past the FIRE movement, I guess. But what if you're 25 or under, or you're 20 or 22 and you're just starting out? In this case, you might have an option of a few years there to bank some money, stay with mama, stay in the house, have health insurance with your parents still while you're starting out, and save $500 a month. So if you were to do this for just 3 years, let's say the age of 22 to 25, and you were able to save $500 a month, and it really doesn't matter what age you are, but this is the example that I'm using. So you save $500 a month so that at the age of 25, you have $18,000 in a Roth. Okay, so you just did an automatic payment of $500 every month into it. So maybe you could set this up to where out of your paycheck, every 2 weeks out of your paycheck, $250 was going into it or whatever. So, and you only did this for 3 years because maybe then you wanted to get married, you had other expenses, whatever. So you said, well, for my own sake, I'm going to do this and I'm going to ensure my retirement. So if you did that, you put $18,000 in by the age of 25 or whatever age, it doesn't matter, but for this example, I'm going to say the age of 25. And then by the time you're 45, which is 20 years, you're going to have $1 million. So you could change this to 45 and be 65. Of course, it wouldn't really be FIRE then. It'd be normal retirement. 35 would be 55 and so forth. If you change this to 20, just by doing that for 3 years, you didn't put anything else in, you could retire a millionaire at 40. So think about that. Let that sink in. The age of 20, you get a job, you stay at home or a house hack, or maybe you make good money, whatever the case may be, but you can come up with $500 a month so that you end up with $18,000 in 3 years, and then 20 years later, you'll have $1 million. So then the thing that you have to ask yourself, well, if I did have $1 million at that point, how much could I earn off of it? And in this case, I just used the market average of, instead of 23% for T Triple Q, you just use 12%, which is the market average over a long period of time. So you'd net out $135,000, which would be $11,000 a month. That's a lot of money. That's, you'd have a 6-figure income to and never have to work again. If you could live off a 6-figure income, which I think most people could. Of course, you could change this and say, well, I'm going to stay aggressive, and then you'd have $21,000. The only problem with that is that if you're counting on this money and you had to take it out, if the market went down, you really don't want to be taking the money out at that point. So you'd kind of have to figure that out. But if you did it 12%, which might be more reasonable, then you'd have $11,000. So you might say, well, heck, what if I did it more aggressive? I did it more aggressively. So I just put the maximum in. So you went out today and you put in last year's 2020, which you could do, 6,000, and 6,000 for this year, 2021, and you put in 6,000 a year after that. So you set up something that can put $500 a month into your IRA, and you kept it in TQQQ, and it kept earning 23% on average. I mean, last year it was up double. It was up 100%. So, I mean, but over time, let's just say it does 23%, because that's what it looks like the chart has done. Whereas the market has done about 12%. So what if you did that? So if you started at 25 in 20 years, you would be not only a millionaire, you'd have $2 million. So at 12%, that'd be $20,000 a month. I mean, people don't normally earn $20,000 a month. So that would be at 12%. Of course, if you did at 23%, you said you could do better than 12%, then you could adjust that accordingly. I mean, you could do 24%, it'd be more than that. But, you know, if we're doing a retirement, let's, you know, be conservative here. So at 25, you could have $2 million. Now, this wouldn't be fire, but what if you're 45? You'd have a normal retirement of 65, $2 million. What if you're 35? You'd be 55, and so forth. So this would be something that you could do, and definitely grow the nest egg for retirement. Most people are going to want to retire at a normal age. So if you did this by 45, you started putting it in by the time you were 45, at 65 you'd have $2 million, which is a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. I think most people agree that's a lot of money. So what about people that don't have it? And I think you've seen this chart before. So if you start really early, and you want to retire at 65, your normal age, then you'd only have to put $100 in. That's crazy, $100. So I think everybody should gift their child $100, and then they can retire. Put it in TQQQ at 23%. They can retire a millionaire. Same thing. If you're 30, you have to put $750. If you're 40, the whole $6,000 for 1 year, and then just leave it in there. So I think everybody should do this. Or you could put, you know, just $2 a month for somebody that was 20, 15 if you're 30, and, you know, 110 if you're 60, or if you're 45 or 40, which, you know, basically equates to, you know, these figures over here. If you're 50, you could put in 2 years at $7,000 a piece. I guess you'd have to be 51 to be, you know, previous year. But even if you were to wait later in life and you were to put the maximum in, you put the whole $6,000 in, or $7,000, I suppose. You can put the whole $7,000 in. If you started at 50, at 66, you could still retire a millionaire. If you started at 55, you know, you could just adjust this 5 years, so you'd be at 71. So, you know, 50 to 66 or 55 to 71. Even at 60, if you've already made it to 60 and you don't have anything, and you're still working and you're still earning income, you know, you can do the same thing, and by the time you're 76, you'll have $1 million. And by the time you're 60, you might say, well, what's the use? But you might live to be 90 years old. I mean, you could still, you know, you hadn't saved up to that point, but you could still retire a millionaire. So this is something that was really exciting about TQQQ. And the only reason you can really do this is because of the high interest rate. So let's say if you just did market average, you'd only end up with $173,000. But because the triple is doing more like 23% a year or more, then you're looking at $1 million. So take a look at this, do it. This would be great. I'm 57, so if I did 57, I'd have to be 77 before I had $1 million. Of course, I'm already a millionaire, so that's not a problem for me. And I have about $750,000 in the market. So for all of y'all that have more than that, let's just see what a big number does. So if you had 750,000, so by the time I was 65, I could have $4 million. So I've already got almost $1 million there. So this is something that you can do. This is something you can do throughout time. But of course, you don't really have a way, unless you did a Roth, an IRA rollover or something like that, to be able to put a big amount in a Roth. So that's why it's imperative you try to put the maximum in, if you can, to take advantage of this, tax-free money at the end of your career. Then that money would be tax-free. And I really think that people, even if you have a 401k, let's say you have a 401k now and you're 45 years old, it might not be a bad idea to take a loan out of your 401k and pay it back. Of course, I'm not telling you not to do, but go ahead and put the $18,000 in a Roth, because if you did that, that at retirement age you're going to be a millionaire, and so you could take that money that you did that you had in your 401k, and you'd have to pay that back, but you would have the funds to do that. And let's say you have $50,000 in your 401k, you can just take $18,000 out and do this, and you can leave the other in there. Anyway, some things to think about. These are things that I've been thinking about, things that could help other people, bless them or whatever. So let's see how this goes. I think me and my wife are gonna do this starting this year, because we have two small Roths, but I think they have, one of them's got 7, one of them's got 6,000 in or something like that. So we really haven't been doing this, but we've been kind of missing out by not doing this, because when you retire, you're going to start looking at RMD, you're going to start looking at the tax consequences of taking money out of your 401k and or your IRA. And if you had it in a Roth and you were able to grow that, then you'd be better off.